Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about some creative productivity today. And specifically, I had a topic that was on my mind, especially as we talked last time with creative productivity about doing dreaming and scheming and about thinking about all of those things that we might want to do and what that would be like for us. There is another side that we have to address, which is getting real. Um, and one of those things we have to do is this: we have to realize that you can't do it all. As much as there might be a million different things that you want to get done, I think in the last video, and at least the overall thing that I've been working on, when I'm working one on one with other accountability partners, is we usually set like a 90-day goal for ourselves. One of the things that we do is we're dreaming and scheming. You have to realize, like, oh yeah, there's way too much on the plate. And I like to blame this idea of, hey, I can do everything on this, that you have been lied to. The myth of multitasking. Multitasking is a myth. This is a concept which got such huge traction, particularly in the late 90s and early 2000s. I remember the idea of everybody talking about, yeah, I can do it all. I can do it all. And it's not like you didn't see other people in public and it appeared as if they were doing it all. And maybe on some level, perhaps they were. I remember myself, particularly back in the 1980s, all of a sudden you would see that Steven Spielberg had produced all of these films. Um, uh, Goonies or Batteries Not Included, or there were all of these films that kept coming out that it looked like every film had Steven Spielberg's name attached to it. That also happened in the late 90s and 2000s with J.J. Abrams, right? It looked like every production under the sun had J.J. Abrams' name on it. Um, they probably had some version of approval with those things, or saying some yay or nay. But because those guys have so much that's already on their plate, I doubt that they were in the nooks and crannies of the projects they were working on, particularly on that show Lost. I remember J.J. Abrams had come in and it started the show, but it was really Damon Lindelof and the other producer that I can't think of, who were the showrunners on that, who were really the guys that were carrying the football down the field for several seasons. You usually have these people that come in and just have their name on it to kind of give a little bit of push power on a show. But for the rest of us, especially if you're creative, it looks like, oh, wow, man, these people can just do everything at the same time. And it's just not the case. I speak from experience. How many times have I had, like, you know, 7, 8, 9 different projects that are going on? Really, what ends up happening is, if you got like 10 different projects going on, you're really only getting about 1/10 of everything done. There's this phrase that I wanted to share with you that I thought speaks directly to this. This is from a neuroscientist. I got this over here. This is on asana.com. This is from Dr. Dr. Sahar Youssef, who's a cognitive neuroscientist out of UC Berkeley. Multitasking is a myth. In reality, it's rapidly switching from one task to another and then back again. And every time you make that switch, you pay a tax on both your time and your energy. For that reason, it's almost always more efficient to monotask. Focus on one thing and move on when you're done, so you don't pay unnecessary switching taxes. Wow, that is a powerful statement, right? There's a price to be paid. Every time that you're switching out of something and switching to something else, it's costing you energy, right? And that eventually takes away from everything that you're trying to work on. Yeah, this was a big realization for me because I think, and believe me, I deal with this consistently. I talk about this on uh, here. I talk about this on I'd Rather Be a Buffalo as well. It's very challenging when you are seeing the appearance of other people having success, or it seems like they can do it all. And maybe there are people that are out there that can do that. And if you're one of those people, hey, forget about this episode. It has nothing to do with you. I'm just speaking from my own experience. There's been just many times where it feels like I've got so many different projects I'm working on, and instead of giving that attention and focus to the one thing that needs to get done in the moment, you just end up having a whole bunch of things that are half finished, and that can be quite frustrating and depleting. Um, the big thing that I wanted to talk to you about, especially with the realization of not being able to do it all, and why I'm bringing it up with creative productivity, uh, that there are things, if you are striving and you've had your dreaming and scheming sessions and you've thought to yourself, boy, there's really something that I want to do, or maybe there's a couple of things that I want to get done. Um, I really like going back to the quote from Thomas Sowell. He's a socioeconomic commentator. Um, and it's this: there are no solutions, there are only trade offs. That's by Thomas Sowell. There are no solutions, there are only trade offs. What do I mean by that? Um, when you are moving forward on a project or you want to get something done, when you are saying yes to something, you're going to have to say no to something else. Especially when the concept of trying to give focus on a project to make sure that it gets done. Um, I think that we get so caught up in the idea of, yeah, but I want all of my comforts. I still want to be able to. I still want to be able to change my life, but to not change my behaviors or to not change what I'm doing right now. Um, all of this boils down to time. Uh, in Believe me, guys, I wish it was different, but it is the way that things are created. You have parameters. You have limits and you have parameters, especially when it comes to time. In every week, there's only 168 hours in a week. That's 10,080 minutes in a week. That's a whole bunch, but it's still a set amount of time. And particularly when you're thinking about that 168 hours in a week, you really got to consider to yourself, oh, yeah, I got to sleep during that time. I got to be able to eat and rest, uh, exercise. I've got to have the relationship with uh, my spouse, with my kids. Um, you know, what are the things that you're going to have to say no to? Is it certain? I think that I've shared that. I don't think I've shared this here before, but for me, I remember a big turning point happened for me with video games. I used to dig video games when I was younger. Arcade games was a big thing for me, especially in the 80s, and then home video systems. Um, but then as I started getting older and then got married and had kids, I remember I had one moment. I had bought my oldest son, we gotten for Luke a PlayStation. He'd actually received it as a gift. And so we would get him games and all that. I was really interested in it. I remember I was sitting down and playing one of his games one morning. And this is when we also had uh, our other son, Maddie, who was just born. And I remember I had this moment where I had been playing this game for a while and thinking about all the things I was trying to achieve for me at that time as being a working actor. And just all of a sudden having this realization of going, yeah, I can't do this anymore. I can't afford the time to be spending on a video game because I've got a newborn son that I got to help out with. And there's also things I want to be doing as a professional actor. And I just don't have the parameters. So going back to that Thomas Sowell quote, it's like, yeah, if you want to become a professional working actor, there's a time, energy, and focus that has to be spent on that. And that means I have to trade off the time that I'm spending on a video game. So what is that for you? What is that for you? Is it a certain game that you like to do a lot on your phone? Is it a certain habit that you're in with watching a streaming series that you just, I've always got to do that? There has to be some version of a trade-off so you can get this stuff done. Yeah, that is the deal. Do me a favor. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe. I'm going to continue on. There's another thought that I have on this, which includes what happens if you don't focus and put in the work to get it done. But I'll tell you what, I'm actually not going to do it here. I'm going to give that free content over at my locals page right now. I'm going to have an additional video that's bookended with that bookends this video. You just head on over to kevingreg.locals.com, where I've got a bunch of other free content and a bunch of other free videos that are over there. The link is into the description. Please join me over there because I've got other stuff that I want to be sharing with you in order to get your creative work done, and also to help you with deepening your faith and understanding decentralized media and money. So I hope that you will join me over there. I appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.